Okay, so you can see a couple of side tracks here, which is easy to turn a bus around. Don't know if that's too wet. That's pretty good. And you could probably even turn it around on this road. As we come into this dip here, this is the section that I really want to show people. If we just pan across here, this is an overland flow line. It's almost a creek, and this here is remnant vegetation. You can see the white papery bark. That tells you that it's a Melaleuca forest, Melaleuca wetland. And this is an endangered ecosystem here now, and one of the most rapidly disappearing ecosystems on the Sunshine Coast. It's endangered or of concern. And so you can see here, there's a pine tree popping up in there. And there's a range of species through there, all native vegetation, pretty much. Very little in the way of weeds. And as we come up the hill here, you can see that there's an interface zone between the native vegetation and the pine plantation here. See that? And that interface is an area that needs to be managed very carefully in terms of the environment, in terms of any runoff or chemicals coming out of the pine plantation, in terms of maintaining appropriate riparian vegetation around the watercourse, so that there's good buffering of the water and the water quality. So we'll just come up here, and so you can see this whole area is crisscrossed with logging roads, and then the pine plantation areas, and then along the watercourse the occasional bit of riparian veg. Now I just want to show you this under here. You can see that there's a lot more than just pine needles happening under these pines. Some of this is weeds, but a lot of it is actually native understory species that have come in underneath. And so you can see that the way that these guys are managing this plantation, although they do some controlled burns, you can see that there's some good biodiversity outcomes as well. Up at the corner here, we're coming up to the sealed road, and I just wanted to show you here that the company that manages the pine plantations, even though it's on state land, it's leased out, state forest. You can see that they undertake hazard reduction burning to protect their crop. That's sort of slow burns that they do, which is also going to have an impact on biodiversity and needs to be managed very carefully so that the fire doesn't get away from them. You can also see that there are potential social impacts to this, having this facility, if you like, the forestry happening here, and then there's a need to patrol these areas for delinquency and for dumping and things like that. All of that comes into the cost, the general economic cost of running a forestry operation.